And here to talk to NTD's Don Ma about the CCP committee in HSBC is China expert David Zhang. He's the host of Epoch TV's China Insider.
David, thanks for coming on. So there's a law in China that requires a CCP committee to be installed in your company. So first off, David, could you explain for us what exactly is a CCP committee?
So these communist cells are basically the extension of Beijing, the extension of the Chinese Communist Party, and they can take in different names of different organizations, but their goals are all the same, which is to extend the control of the Chinese Communist Party into every sector of society.
Now, these cells or these committees, what's the purpose of having that in a company?
If you think about companies like HSBC or anything to do with banking in general, it's, in my view, to extend a tighter grip or a control aspect onto the company. It's to direct them to follow what the needs of the Chinese Communist Party really is, and to further control how the company develops and how things would fit into the grander plan of the CCP.
And what is that plan? Can you be more specific of how the CCP wants to direct banks' business operations?
So if we look at the series of events recently, we know that there were banks in China that restricted withdrawals for the depositors. There were cases of the cash vanishing. So I think there's a really tight cash flow in China right now. And so having a tighter control of banking or banking sectors is a great way to ensure that money specifically stays in China and it's used for the purpose of internal circulation rather than it's being poured out by, for example, a house being bought in Florida or California.
Now, HSBC said that Chinese Communist Party committees within private companies in China have, quote, no influence on the running of the business. What's your reaction to that?
I think it's a very real situation because the Communist Party cells are branded as a non-intervention or these committees don't do anything to affect the affairs of the daily operations of the company. But when it comes down to the final decision, if that decision does not benefit the party in the end, that decision is likely to be stopped by the Communist Party cell. A really good example of this is the Communist Party cells in universities. And these are the cell party secretaries. They actually have a lot of say in the curriculums and the general teaching directions of the university, when in general they would claim that they have no effects on the university itself, but they actually do.
Okay, just one last thing, David. Now, this decision by HSBC, is that going to have an effect on other companies? Are other companies going to follow suit, do you think?
I think you raise an important point, which is why HSBC out of everybody? Well, HSBC, the investment bank, is technically based in Hong Kong, and it's not part of mainland China, right? But we know Hong Kong today is basically a part of China after what had happened in 2019. Now, domestic companies already have communist cells, and that's a given. But companies like Tesla or BlackRock were given this 100% foreign ownership to welcome them into China. Now, if those companies also end up having communist cell, you can best bet that the Communist Party has been able to assert policies across the board, and that's going to change the future of what we know as investments in China. So I do think that this is a great indicator to see where things go from this point.
I see. Well, David Zhang, host of China Insider, thanks for coming on.